I'm in Killala today in County Mayo on behalf of Momentum for the Inclusive Paths project, which looks at animal assisted intervention. And I'm here with Emer. So good morning, Emer.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks so much for taking part in this. So can you give me a bit of an introduction to what you do and where you're based?
I'm based in Killala, along Killala Bay, and it's a perfect location for us, and it's my family farm, so I'm very lucky and that it makes life very easy for me to do what I do. So I run a therapeutic horse riding centre, and then also do social farming. So the therapeutic horse riding involves kids and adults with additional needs and coming and doing a 30-minute session with us. We have 2 purpose-built sensory trails, and we use a variety of ponies, and it's really the movement of the pony that mimics the movement of humans. So it's really good from, I suppose, a physical, building up the core, upper body strength, as well as building up that connection and a fun activity for kids and for adults and teenagers as well, that they really seem to enjoy. And I suppose animals and horses in particular are very empathetic animals, non-judgmental, and it creates the perfect opportunity. And I suppose it differs from other therapies, and it seems to be more enjoyable for particularly for the kids as it's starting off. And we're very lucky that we have a lot of OTs and speech and language and therapists who recommend us.
And what's the benefits really? You spoke a bit about the movement and the way people interact with the horses. Is that the main benefit that people get from it?
I suppose even just that building up that connection and having that space for kids, and a lot of the kids and adults that we'd see, they may not have other opportunities for other, I suppose, recreational activities, I suppose, similar to what other typical children may have, so that it's a space for them, and it builds up that connection. And I suppose their siblings and their grandparents can come and see them, and it's a positive experience, that they really seem to develop a lovely relationship with the ponies. And the kids and the adults will come in here and they won't say hello to me, but they will interact and say hello to the ponies that they really want. That's what they want. And it's funny, the movement, like we have lovely different things on our sensory trails, but it's all about that movement that really seems to be calming and regulating for the kids and for the adults. So it differs from your typical horse riding in the sense that we use a roller and a pad. So they say the closer you are to the horse, that helps with the self-regulation and calming, and it brings about, I suppose, positive endorphins. And even like leading the horses over to the steps, they're building up that horsemanship skills as well. So it brings out a lot of activities and a lot of skills, and it really seems to transform people's lives.
And is the social farming different to the therapeutic ride?
Yes, so that's completely different, I suppose, in this respect that participants come from marginalised society, I suppose maybe mental health, physical disabilities, a whole different array of people. So we've had groups from Praxis come, and then also 2 groups from CAMS come. So they're teenagers, and they come and they participate in farm life. So they come and take part in the farm. So a lot of that, I suppose, I'm from a horse farm, and mainly, so that a lot of that is evolved around grooming the horses, mucking out the horses, and building stuff on our sensory trail. But it doesn't involve the horse riding as such for social farming. And they come for a number of weeks, so maybe between 6 and 8 weeks, 1 day a week. And it's just about building up that social connection and giving people skills and kind of ownership and building up their confidence.
And the ages then, you spoke about the pony therapy. So is that for younger children?
Yeah, from younger kids and for adults and teenagers. So some kids would start from maybe 18 months because it's been recommended from their physios and OTs. I suppose kids maybe who have Down syndrome, the heat from the horse helps their low muscle tone to build up and get stronger. And so they might come smaller amount of time for over a few weeks, or over smaller amount of time over a few days and a week, and build it up to the 30 minutes so it's a lot of, I suppose, doing nursery rhymes and things. And my team is very skilled. We use Love and we use AAC devices. So, I suppose communication is across the board for our riders. So we try and look into that.
So you've spoken about your team. How many of you is involved in this?
So I have one guard who's full time, and then I have some volunteers who help at the weekends, and we're lucky to have some transition year students who really seem to like to get involved, I suppose, maybe that have a background in horses, or else looking to see, I suppose, future careers and looking at what the horses can do.
And how do you get referrals? Either social farming or the pony therapy?
So I suppose social farming, it's mainly through their offices, and maybe kind of Deirdre, who I'm connected with from the South Mayo. She's fantastic at looking at and going to different events and fairs. And I suppose I go to different resource fairs to publicise what we do, the social farming and the equine therapy. And then from the equine therapy, it really started off from word of mouth. And then I was lucky enough that I worked under the early intervention team before it turned into the CDNT. So a lot of OTs and physios, speech and language therapists, also would recommend it, which is really nice.
Excellent. And what about funding? Who funds the resources?
Yeah, so it's mostly private families, so the individuals themselves or their families. Enable Ireland have come on board this year and supported a lot of families for the pony therapy. And also the Mayo Autism Camp this year has funded our first camp. So for that was a group of 2 weeks of children who have autism, and they came without their families. And a lot of the children, it was their first time ever at a camp on their own. So that was something that was a really big success and really nice.
And have you found any challenges in your work?
Yeah, I suppose funding, I suppose, is probably the main thing. We're not a charity. Yes, I'm not motivated by money, but I suppose horses eat money. And so that's probably something that's always, thinking about. But I suppose with social farming and with the equine therapy, it has made things more diverse and I suppose maybe easier. Accessibility can be another one. I found that a lot of special schools and autism classes have looked trying to come, but because of funding for buses, that's transport, that seems to be a big barrier as to why they're not accessing our services. And then also, I suppose, accessibility, maybe that's something, a bugbear for me, is a hoist. So that it would be more friendly for our wheelchair users, but I suppose from talking to other businesses and like mine, that they have the hoist, but their horses haven't taken to it. So then it has been an added expense. And then with the maintenance cost, that it actually hasn't been worthwhile, even though I would like to. And I've had some people in wheelchairs, children in wheelchairs, but as they go on, it just does, they have to be to continue, unfortunately. And then I suppose the standardisation of equine therapy, like I suppose animal therapies and equine therapy in particular, seems to be a growing industry in Ireland. And just to make sure that it's across the board a standard, that everybody is using, suppose, every communication, so that they have their law of training. And I suppose we're lucky that we're part of the Ballina Autism Friendly Town, which I suppose it has the nice standards that they're starting to look at, but from an equine therapy, that other equine therapies are of same standards. But I think that is becoming looked at now. With Seen Lente and there's Equisense, and they were run, and they are starting to try and get standardised across Ireland, which I think would be a great idea.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.